Chapter 5. So, what do you say, Brady? Rasha asked. Brady turned his eyes from the scarred girl. Sorry, I didn't hear you. I was telling you what I'd like to do now. The ugly face faded from Brady's thoughts. Maybe Rasha had changed her mind about going home so soon. Anything, name it. Well, I really like your car, she told him. How about letting me drive it back to Shadyside? No way, Brad thought as they reached the car. His dad's Oldsmobile Cutlass. The car his father had let him drive exactly 2 times, on penalty of death if anything happened to it. Besides, Rasha continued, playfully squeezing his arm, you bought the movie tickets and the popcorn, and you drove us here. It's only fair that I do something. No, really, that's okay, Brady protested. Tonight is my treat, all the way. That's sweet, Brady, but I want to drive. Rasha ran her hand along the side of the gleaming silver-gray car. I've always wanted to drive one with turbocharge. I bet it's really powerful. Yeah, it is, Brady agreed. The thing is, it's my dad's car. I practically had to sign my life away to borrow it. I'm not kidding. If I bring it home with even a microscopic scratch on it, he'll go ballistic. But I'm a good driver, Rasha argued. Nothing will happen. Don't you trust me? Of course I trust you, but... Brady shook his head. Of all the things she could ask for, why did it have to be this? Come on, Brady. The night has been perfect so far. Rasha pouted up at him. Don't spoil it. Let me drive, please. Besides, you'll be right beside me. What can happen? Rasha, I just... Oh, never mind. She abruptly let go of his arm. Forget I asked. Hey, don't be angry, Brady pleaded. I'm not. I understand perfectly. Rasha started pulling on her gloves, not looking at him. Brady stuck his hands into his pockets. She was angry, he could tell. Her voice had a touch of frost in it. Everything had been going so great. Now this. Rasha? Yes? She kept fiddling with her gloves. Brady stared at her, desperate for her to smile at him again, to like him. If he told her no, she might decide to find somebody else. He'd never see her again. Don't blow this, he told himself. Let her drive. Dad will never know. You have to understand, Rasha, I wouldn't let just anybody do this, Brady told her. But you're not just anybody, so... He pulled the car keys from his pocket and dangled them in front of her eyes. Rasha's gaze shifted from the keys to Brady's face. You mean it? She asked. It's not that big a deal, you know. Go ahead, take the keys, Brady said. Well, if you're sure, I'm positive. Rasha snatched the keys and kissed him quickly but firmly on the mouth. Thanks, Brady. Let's drive. Brady's lips tinkled from the kiss as he trotted around to the passenger side. With gratitude like that, Rasha could take the wheel any day. But his nervousness returned the second Rasha revved the engine. Shoving the gear shift into drive, she hit the gas pedal. The rear tires spun. When they finally gripped the road, the car shot out of the parking lot with a screech. Just take it easy, Brady pleaded, trying to keep his voice calm. It snowed yesterday, remember? There might be icy patches. No backseat drivers allowed, Rasha ordered, smoothly rounding the corner. If I see your foot trying to hit imaginary brake pedal, you'll have to hitchhike back to Shadyside. Brady laughed, hoping she was kidding. In a couple of minutes, they had left the lights of Waynesbridge behind. 10 miles of dark highway stretched ahead of them. Rasha stomped on the gas pedal and laughed as the car surged forward. Major horsepower. This is fantastic. Brady forced a smile. He swallowed dryly as the white lines on the road zipped beneath them in a blur. Relax, he told himself. It's a straight 10-minute drive. Or a 2-minute drive at the rate we're going. We need music, Rasha cried. She took one hand off the wheel and fumbled for the radio dial. You drive, Brady told her quickly. I'll handle the radio. Perfect. Brady leaned over and punched the buttons until he found a good station. Loud music filled the car, its heavy beat thudding over the rumble of the engine. He gazed at Rasha. She had the driver's window open a crack, and a strand of blonde hair whipped back in the breeze. She glanced over at him and grinned. Her green eyes glowed with excitement. See, she shouted over the music. I told you I was a good driver. Right. Good and fast, Brady thought as the car ate up the highway. Too fast. A wide patch of icy road was ahead. Brady's right foot automatically pressed against the floorboard. His hand gripped the armrest. Rasha glanced at him again. Lighten up, she teased. Remember what I said about hitching home? She pressed down harder on the gas pedal. The car flew over the ice. Brady took a deep breath. He wished he could see the speedometer. Rasha had to be way past the speed limit. As casually as possible, he glanced over his shoulder. Good, no flashing lights behind them. The last thing he needed was a speeding ticket. He faced front again and saw the exit sign for Shadyside. The car sped forward. Brady's palms were sweaty and his heart raced. It's almost over, he told himself. Be cool. Don't let her see how nervous you are. We'll be off the highway in a minute. She'll have to slow down then. The exit sign loomed closer. Closer. Rasha took the turn at top speed. Brady slammed against the passenger door as they flew up the exit ramp. Slow down, Brady cried sharply. Rasha! The car roared and picked up speed. The exit ramp curved toward a residential street. Hey, come on, Brady yelled. There's ice on this ramp. Ease up. I'm trying, but I can't, Rasha cried. Brady could hear panic in her voice. I can't slow down. The gas pedal. It's stuck. Pump the brake, Brady shouted. As Rasha's foot fumbled for the brake, the car skidded onto a patch of ice. It swerved wildly to the right. Rasha yanked the steering wheel to the left. Too far, Brady yelled. Pull it back. Rasha yanked the wheel again and hit the brake at the same time. The car spun. Brady, Rasha screamed, pointing straight ahead. Brady's heart stalled. He saw a parked car sitting at the end of the street, its rear window shining with frost under the streetlight. The parked car seemed to grow huge as they hurtled toward it. Brady! Rasha screamed again. Brady dived for the steering wheel. Too late. Metal crunched and glass shattered as they plowed into the back of the parked car. The impact threw Brady forward. I'm not stopping, Brady realized. No seatbelt. I'm dead! Brady screamed in terror and shot headfirst into the windshield. Chapter 6. A drumbeat pounded, throbbing, loud, painful. Brady groaned. Something took hold of his shoulder, shook him. He groaned again. Brady! A voice cried frantically in his ear. Brady, wake up! Rasha's voice, urgent, frightened. Rasha's hand shaking him. Brady forced his eyes open. Lights, a blur of motion. Brady, come on! Slowly, Brady's vision cleared. He gazed at the windshield of his father's car. An intricate spiderweb of cracks spread out over what used to be smooth, clear glass. Brady blinked, trying to figure it out. What happened? He mumbled. We crashed into a car, Rasha whispered in his ear. Her fingers dug into his shoulder. She shook him again. Wake up now. You have to wake up. Pain stabbed through Brady's head as Rasha shook him. He reached up and touched his forehead. Something wet and sticky came off his fingers. Blood. Brady took a shaky breath and slowly began to remember what had happened. Rasha driving too fast, the ice, the parked car, looming in front of them, and then that horrifying crash into the windshield. No wonder his head hurt. He touched it again, felt more blood. Dizziness swept over him. Brady, Rasha breathlessly repeated his name. He turned and focused on her worried face. I guess I blacked out for a second, he murmured. You okay, Rasha? I'm fine. Brady, listen to me, Rasha cried, tugging on his shoulder. We have to switch places. Huh? You have to switch places with me. Rasha's voice rose frantically. I don't have a driver's license. You don't have a license, Rasha repeated. People are coming out of their houses, and the police will be here any second. We've got to switch seats. Pain stabbed at Brady's head again. Music still blared from the speakers. At least the radio wasn't broken, he thought, but the music hurt his head. He reached out and shut it off. Would you forget about the music? You have to move! Rasha tugged at him harder. His head throbbed, but she didn't stop. Finally, she climbed over him, then shoved him over the gear shift and into the driver's seat. I'm so sorry, she cried. I feel totally awful about this, Brady, but I can't get caught driving without a license. Please say you understand. Sure. Through his daze, Brady could hear a siren wailing in the distance. You sure you're all right, Rasha? Yes, really, I don't have a single scratch. She leaned over and kissed his cheek. I'm really sorry about this, Brady. Don't worry, he murmured. Everything will be okay. The siren grew louder. Brady straightened up. Seatbelt, he thought. Don't want to get a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt. He snapped it in place, and the movement made his head throb. He touched his face gingerly. An egg-sized bump near his hairline, and a cut still seeping blood. The siren whooped loudly, then cut off. A car door slammed. Footsteps crunched on the frosty road. Brady rolled down the window and gulped in the cold air. A flashlight blinded him for a second. Then a police officer poked his head in the window. You okay, son? He asked in a gruff voice. Yeah, I think so. Brady tried to sound alert. There's a patch of ice on that exit ramp. The car just hit it wrong, I guess. Lousy road conditions all over the place, the policeman agreed. He flashed his light into the interior of the car. You alone in there? Alone? No, we... Brady turned toward the passenger seat. Empty. Rasha was gone. Chapter 7. "You're one lucky dude, Brady," John said the next afternoon as he and Brady walked up the driveway to Allie's house. "And you're not even grounded," he added. "If I totaled my father's car, I wouldn't see the outside world again until I was 25. "It's not totaled," Brady corrected him. "It just needs a new windshield and some work on the front bumper." "Just?" John shook his head in disbelief. "Don't tell me your dad didn't freak." Brady winced, remembering the look on his father's face when he heard about the car. "Oh yeah, he freaked all right. If I didn't already have this lump on my head, he probably would have put one there." "I don't suppose you told him who was really driving," John said softly. "Are you kidding?" Brady shook his head. "I don't have a death wish, you know." "Could have fooled me. I mean, you let this girl drive," John reminded him. "She wrecks the car and lands you in the emergency room. Then she takes off." "I told you, she was scared because she didn't have a license." Brady felt defensive. "And her name is Rasha, not this girl, okay?" Okay. John climbed the front steps of Allie's house and reached for the doorbell. Brady grabbed his arm. "Don't forget, Allie thinks I was babysitting last night," he reminded John in a low voice. "She called me this morning, so I told her about the accident, but she doesn't know about Rasha." "This really stinks," John said. "I mean, Allie is my friend, you know. Why don't you just break up with her instead of doing this?" "I will, once I figure out how to tell her," Brady promised. "I just don't want her to find out by accident, okay?" "Okay," John agreed reluctantly. "But if you're so worried about her finding out, how come you told her you'd come over today? You know she's going to have a zillion questions." "Yeah, but it's better than hanging out at home," Brady replied. "I'm not exactly Mr. Popularity there at the moment. Anyway, don't mention Rasha." Brady stabbed the doorbell with his finger. Allie opened the door almost immediately. Her eyes widened as she stared at him. "Your head!" she cried. "Oh, wow!" "Yeah, he's the walking wounded, all right," John muttered. "But don't waste your sympathy on him, Allie. He's not even grounded." Allie stared at Brady's bandaged head. "I'm fine, Allie," Brady insisted. He dumped his books on the floor and took off his jacket. He slowly lowered himself to the flowered couch in Allie's wood-paneled family room. His head throbbed. "But you do have to pay for the repairs, right?" John asked, stretching out on a rug in front of the fireplace. "Worse," Brady told him. "The insurance will definitely go up, and I have to pay the extra. I think I should start looking for a job." John groaned sympathetically. "I'll ask at the donut hall," he offered. "Maybe they need somebody else to work a couple of hours after school. At least we get to work together." Allie shook her head. "I can't believe you guys are talking about money. Brady could have died." "Yeah, well, I didn't," Brady reminded her. "He just looks like he did," John joked. Allie shook her head again and curled up on the couch next to Brady. "How come you borrowed your father's car anyway?" she asked. "You've only taken me out in it once. It's kind of fancy just to go babysitting, isn't it?" Yeah." Brady shifted uncomfortably as he felt Allie's gray eyes boring into his. "A couple of the tires on my car are kind of worn. I thought Dad's car would handle the ice better. Guess I was wrong." Brady exchanged a glance with John. He knew John thought he was crazy. Crazy to let Rasha drive. Crazy to be sneaking around on Allie. He had promised to keep his mouth shut about it, though, and Brady knew he could trust him, but coming to Allie's house had been a mistake. Not because his head still hurt, but because he had to face Allie and lie to her. Again. He didn't want to keep talking about it, lying about it. His head began throbbing again. "Are you okay?" Allie murmured anxiously. "Do you want some aspirin or something?" "No, thanks," he told her. "How's your cousin?" she asked. "Which one?" Allie flashed him a confused look. "The one you were babysitting. You told me he had the flu, remember? He's throwing up all the time?" "Oh, right. Chucky. He's getting better." Brady shot another glance at John. "Help me out here, man." "You know what's missing?" John scrambled up from the rug. "Music. This place is as quiet as a tomb." "Music would be great," Brady agreed. "Crank it up, so Allie can't ask me any more questions." John took a CD from the shelf and stuck it into the player. In seconds, the sound of loud guitar music filled the room. "Come on, Allie, dance with me before we hit the books," John yelled, pulling her off the couch. Allie laughed, and the two began dancing in the middle of the big family room. Brady closed his eyes, relieved. He could always count on John. Allie loved to dance. As long as the music kept playing, she would forget about everything else. And he could think about Rasha. Was she all right? Why had she disappeared like that? Brady frowned. She must have run because she was afraid of getting caught without a license. It freaked Brady out whenever he thought of it. If he had known, he would never have let her drive his dad's car. Rasha shouldn't even have asked in the first place. If it were anyone else, he would be furious. But it wasn't anyone else. It was Rasha. He couldn't be furious with her. So she didn't have a license. Brady was in the driver's seat by the time the cop arrived. No way he could know that Rasha had been driving. Brady shifted on the couch, his head pounding. Maybe Rasha just freaked, or maybe she had some other reason for leaving, something he didn't know about. If only he could talk to her. If only he had her phone number. All he could do now is hope that she would call him. Brady slumped deeper into the couch. He had to find her, talk to her, be near her. He couldn't get her out of his mind. The music ended. Allie flopped down on the couch beside Brady. "I'm dying of thirst," John announced. "Allie, got any Cokes?" "Plenty. Grab some for me and Brady, too." Allie touched Brady's shoulder. "Or would you rather have hot chocolate?" she asked him. "Or something to eat?" "Coke is fine." Brady glanced at her as John left the room. Allie's cheeks were flushed from dancing and her eyes sparkled. She's so pretty, Brady thought, but she's not Rasha Nelson. Nelson. You know her last name, you moron, Brady told himself. Look it up in the phone book. A crackling, crunching sound burst from the kitchen. "Whoa," John's voice cried. "Major disaster with the nacho chips in here." Allie laughed and scooted off the couch. "I'll go see what happened. Be right back." As soon as Allie was out of sight, Brady shot across the room to the telephone. It sat on a low table with a shelf beneath it. He grabbed the phone book off the shelf and turned to the ends. Needham, Neldon, Nelson! Brady's heart sank. The name Nelson took up almost 3 columns, and he didn't know Rasha's father's name, or her mother's, or her address. Frustrated, he shoved the book onto the shelf and returned to the couch. He started to sit, then changed his mind and strode to the kitchen door. He couldn't just sit here when Rasha was out there somewhere. Allie held a dustpan while John swept nacho chips into it. "Hey guys, I think I'll go home," Brady announced. "My head is killing me." Allie hurried to his side. "I bet it was the music." "Why don't I give you some aspirin and then we'll study the way we planned," she suggested. "Thanks, but I wouldn't be able to concentrate." "Oh, okay. Let me get my car keys and I'll—" "No," Brady interrupted. "I'll walk, Allie. The fresh air will probably help." "Yeah, let him air his brain out." John stuffed some chips into his mouth and gave Brady a sharp look. Brady ignored it. He gave Allie a quick kiss, grabbed his jacket and books, and hurried outside. He lived only 4 blocks away from Allie. They both lived in the North Hill section of Shadyside. Where did Rasha live? When would he see her again? Brady gulped in deep breaths of the chilly air. Would he see her again? "I have to," he thought. "I have to." He crossed the street and turned the corner. 2 more blocks and he'd be home. But then what? Get a grip, he scolded himself. Call every Nelson in the phone book until you get the right one. It might take forever, but you'll find her. You have to. Brady hurried down the last half block and turned into his driveway. As he strode toward his house, he heard a car pull in behind him. He turned quickly, hoping it might be Rasha, and saw a police car. The black and white cruiser coasted to a stop. At the wheel sat the same cop from last night. A chill of dread crept up Brady's spine. His heart started hammering. Did they find out I wasn't driving? Brady took a deep breath. If the cops had found out he had lied, he was in trouble. And so was Rasha. Major trouble. He forced a smile and approached the cruiser. Chapter 8. Afternoon. The officer Brady had met yesterday climbed out of the car. "How's the head, son?" "Not too great. Act like you're still hurting," Brady told himself. "Maybe he will go easy on you." "I was trying to study," he said, hefting his notebooks. "It's a little hard to concentrate, though. Feels like somebody is using my head for drum practice." The officer nodded, a serious expression on his face. "Hope you feel better soon." "Why?" Brady wondered with a flash of panic. "So they can question me?" "Thanks," he replied. "It's not too bad." The officer cracked a smile. "Yeah, you look like you've got a hard head." A growling sound came from his throat. Brady realized the cop was laughing. He swallowed again and managed to chuckle along. If this guy was playing some kind of game, he wished he'd get it over with. "Listen," he said, "I really should get inside and try to do a little homework." "Well, to tell you the truth, I didn't drop by just to ask about your head," the policeman told him. "Got another reason." Brady tensed up. "Here it comes." "Oh?" The officer turned and leaned into the open window of the cruiser. We found something in your car when it was towed away, he said, speaking over his shoulder. Thought you might be interested in it. What? Brady wondered. What could they have found that would prove he wasn't driving? The officer straightened up and turned around. This was under the front seat. Ever seen it? He asked. He held a black leather pocketbook with a long, thin strap. Brady stared at it. Rasha's bag. She must have tossed it onto the seat when she got in to drive. Then it fell during the crash. Rasha's bag, and inside would be her wallet, some ID, her phone number, or at least her address. Sure, I've seen it, he told the policeman. It's my girlfriend's. She thought she lost it on her last date. Must have been wedged under the seat all this time, the cop said, handing the bag to Brady. She'll be happy to see it. She sure will. Hey, thanks. Thanks a lot. You bet. Take care of that head now. The officer climbed into the car and backed it down the driveway. Brady gave him a quick wave, then hurried up the driveway and let himself into the house. He dumped his books on the hall table and started to open the bag. What's that, Brady? His mother asked, trotting down the stairs with a stack of bath towels in her hands. Huh? Oh. Brady stuck the pocketbook under his arm. It's Allie's purse. Oh? The police brought it by, Brady explained. They found it in Dad's car. In your father's car? Miss Carlin blew a strand of dark hair off her forehead and frowned. Allie wasn't with you last night, was she? No, Brady replied quickly. I took her out in his car once before, remember? I guess she left it then. Well, you should let her know, his mother advised. I'm sure she spent a lot of time looking for it. Yeah, I'll do that right now. Brady took the stairs, 2 at a time. Up in his room, he shut the door and tossed his books on the desk. Then he crossed to the bed and sat down, the telephone in easy reach on the nightstand. Soon he would be in touch with Rasha. He would hear her throaty voice. Maybe they would see each other tonight. Eagerly, he unzipped the bag and pulled it open, and gasped in shock. Chapter 9. The bag was empty. Had someone stolen all the stuff out of it? Brady pulled the bag open as wide as it would go and stuck his hand inside. Nothing, not a stray penny or a scrap of paper, not even any lint. He turned the pocketbook upside down and shook it. Nothing fell out. No one would steal every last thing from a bag, would they? Besides, the cop had said it was wedged under the seat. Who would go through a purse and then stuff it back under a car seat? Brady tossed the bag aside and slumped back against the headboard. Weird. Why would Rasha carry around a completely empty bag? She had been shopping for her mother. Who went shopping without money or a credit card? Maybe she kept her wallet in her jacket pocket or something, so if the bag got snatched, she'd still have her money. Brady shook his head. That didn't make any sense. Why carry the bag at all? You're back where you started, he told himself. No phone number, no address. Sighing, Brady slid off the bed and paced around the room. He stopped at the window and stared out at the gray day. Where are you, Rasha? Why did you run away? Why haven't you called me? He turned from the window and started for the door. His parents kept a phone book in their room. It was time to start calling all the Nelsons in Shadyside. As he put his hand on the doorknob, his telephone rang. Rasha? Brady leaped for the phone and snatched it up in the middle of the second ring. Hello? Hi. Are you feeling better? Allie. Brady's shoulders sagged in disappointment. Hi, Allie. Yeah, I'm fine now. Really? Allie's voice was doubtful. You were so pale before, and the way you took off, I was really worried. Don't be, he told her. I said I'm fine. Everything's great. Or it will be, he thought, as soon as I find Rasha. Are you sure? Allie asked. You sound weird. Right, Brady thought. Weirdly, incredibly crazy about a girl I can't even find. And I have to find her. I have to see her again. Brady, did you hear me? Allie asked. I said you sound really weird. I'm here, he replied. Sorry, Allie, I'm a little wiped. That's why it sounds strange, I guess. Maybe you should call the doctor, she suggested. Or at least lie down for a while. Lie down. That's a good idea, he said quickly. I think I'll do that right now. Okay. I'll only keep you a minute, she promised. I just wanted to say I copied over the notes for you when John and I were studying. I'll give them to you tomorrow, okay? Sure. Great. Brady glanced impatiently at the door. He couldn't think about notes or studying now. He just wanted to get that phone book and get started finding Rasha. Thanks, Allie. I'll see you at... Oh, one more thing, she interrupted. About Saturday night. Brady tensed. What did Allie know about last night? Had John told her about Rasha? Saturday? He asked, trying to sound calm. What do you mean? Next Saturday, remember? At May's? Next Saturday, not last night. Brady sighed with relief, but then his mind went blank. May? The only name on his mind at the moment was Rasha. He forced himself to concentrate. May Kamada. Right, one of Allie's friends. Brady, are you there? Allie asked sharply. Sure. What about May? She's having a party next Saturday night, Allie reminded him, and we're invited? We are? Brady, I told you about it last week, Allie cried. Are you sure you're not really sick? That bump on your head. Brady sat on the bed. Get it together, man, he ordered himself. Sorry, Allie, I'm just tired. Sure, I remember the party. Okay, anyway, it was going to be just a regular party, you know, Allie continued. Music and food. But then she remembered there's a vacant lot at the end of her block, and every winter the neighbors flood it and it freezes over. And, Brady tapped his foot. And everybody ice skates, Allie said. So May decided to have an ice skating party. That sounds cool. She could have told me this at school, Brady thought. The party is almost a week away. Good. You do have ice skates, right? Allie asked. Sure. Somewhere. I'll dig them out. Brady, Allie hesitated. You sound a million miles away. Is something on your mind? Rasha is on my mind, Brady thought. My mind is wherever she is. I just can't concentrate right now, he told Allie. I think I'll lie down. Wow, your poor head, Allie cried. Take it easy, Brady. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow. Bye, Allie. Brady slammed the phone down and hurried across the hall to his parents' room for the telephone book. Back in his room, he shut the door again and sat on his bed, the telephone on his lap and the open phone book beside him. Nelson A. on Melinda Lane was the first entry. Brady dialed the number and got an answering machine. He hung up. He hadn't thought about leaving a message. If it wasn't Rasha's place, they would ignore it. He penciled a question mark next to Nelson A. and went to the next entry. He let the phone ring 10 times, then hung up. A man answered the third call. Hi, is Rasha there? Brady asked. Who? The man demanded loudly. Joshua, did you say? No, Rasha, Brady repeated. Nobody here by that name, the man declared. No Joshua either. He hung up. This could take forever, Brady thought. But it's worth it, he told himself. Finding Rasha is worth anything. Brady ran his finger down the page and found the next number. As he started to pick up the phone, it rang. He tightened his grip on the receiver for a moment. Rasha? No, probably Allie. She always forgot to tell him things. Always had to call back once or twice. This was probably about May's party. Still, his heart raced as he picked up the phone. He could be wrong. It could be Rasha. Hello? Silence. But he could hear someone breathing. Hello? He repeated. Brady? A girl's voice. But not Allie's. Not Rasha's either. He didn't recognize it. Who is this? Brady demanded. Hello? I'm here, Brady, the girl replied, and I've got a message for you. Who is this? Brady repeated. Stay away from Rasha, the girl whispered. Excuse me? Brady sat up straight. Is this some kind of joke? It's not a joke, Brady, the girl's voice hardened. It's a warning. Stay away from Rasha. Who is this? Brady demanded again. A friend of Allie's? Who are you? The phone clicked. Silence. Then a dial tone.